The controversial Breitbart writer and professional troll Milo Yiannopoulos was set to speak at UC Berkeley yesterday, and this triggered a riot and a violent anarchist reaction. The university officially blames 150 masked agitators for disrupting what they called a predominantly peaceful protest. Rioters covered in black and wearing masks smashed ATMs and bank windows, threw fireworks and rocks at police, and used Molotov cocktails to start fires at the Student Center and MLK building. They pepper sprayed and attacked people showing any solidarity with Milo's cause, specifically targeting people with Make America Great Again hats. Oh, and they also smashed and looted a Starbucks. That's something I've never understood about anarchists, was why they hate Starbucks so much. The anarcho-syndicalist George Sorel wrote Reflections on Violence, a work that came to be revered by anarchists and fascists alike. Sorel was profoundly disappointed with what he saw as a sapping of strength as the revolutionary socialist movement mediated and moved to a reform-based model. George Sorel called for a mythologizing of revolutionary violence, violence that would force the bourgeoisie to pick a side and clarify their relation to the class structure. This controlled violence would be used to manipulate mob psychology and create propaganda. Eventually, this would lead to a violent general strike and an all-out war to seize the means of production. And for those who don't understand this, this needs to be made very clear. Anarchists and communists hate liberals. It can't be overstated. They want to put liberals against the wall and put a bullet in their head. Until the moment they get to do so, liberals are just useful idiots to them. But what strikes me about the current political climate is the postmodern unreality of it all. There are no worker syndicates to form the backbone of a proletariat army, no labor unions glorifying the workers' revolutionary struggle, just spiritually retarded postmodern street gangs fully consumed in their live-action role-play of last century's dead revolution, dead memes, and dead politics. These ideological street gangs rely on the actions of their shadow to recruit, radicalize, and create propaganda. Anarchists idolize dissolution, destruction, and the vengeful feminine, and fascists idolize masculinity, hardness, order, and strength. Anarchists seem to need fascists, Nazis, as an other to hate, and they seem to need them so badly that they're willing to create them by beating people in the street, forcing a reaction from police and conservative Americans. They want to transfer this label of fascist to anyone who supports a conservative American viewpoint. This allows them to play the role of the good guys fighting against the Nazi Trump administration. Social media serves as a hall of mirrors, serving up endless distortions and false reflections. Self-curated networks allow tribes to cut out dissenting views to seek an ever purer form of whatever ism they happen to believe in an ever-tightening purity spiral. These ideological tribes seek to maintain an atmosphere of constant tension and fear, always focused on some poorly defined and constantly shifting other. Escalation between tribal groups is well documented in sociological literature. It involves symbolic provocations such as smashing totems, stealing flags, swiping hats, attacking symbolic representatives, othering, treating the enemy as an inhuman communist Nazi baby eater who the rules of civilized society no longer apply to. They rely on mass consensus, which is accomplished by shunning and tearing down anyone who threatens that consensus. And they rely on disproportionality, where they view every action of the enemy in the worst possible light, and every failing of their own tribe is forgiven as an accident or ultimately unimportant. And this results in a constant and unrelenting hostility toward their own shadow self. Now, the internet was recently lit up with articles asking the question, is it okay to punch a Nazi? And the answer is no, it's not okay to punch a Nazi. Because in the moment, there's no real way of knowing whether someone is or is not a Nazi. There's no way to scrape off the smear of Nazi fascist that gets thrown at people by these crowds of violent protesters. And we saw at these Berkeley riots people getting beaten unconscious with metal poles, a woman pepper sprayed for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. And I hope this causes a lot of people to question their normalization of political violence. Whatever side you think you're on and whatever side you think you belong to,